Hi, it's Todd of Todd Stuff here, and today we're going to be talking about Skallagrim's new windlass crossbow. Just a quick introduction for any Skallagrim's viewers who've come to me through his channel, may not know who I am. My name's Todd. I make medieval weaponry. It's what I absolutely love doing, and I make all kinds of stuff. So I'm well known for daggers. This is a particularly nice rondel dagger, French or English perhaps. Hollow ground blade, hollow rondels, bronze fittings on the hilt and so on. So I do the leatherwork and the whole thing. There's another Basilard here. Again, also French or English actually. Nice one, it's from the Royal Armouries, this particular one. I make maces such as this, and indeed sword scabbards and swords. So this is one of my sword scabbards here. It's actually an Albion sword in here, but I did the scabbard for it. So I do all manner of stuff, but I think it's fair to say that one of my absolute passions is crossbows. I love them. I love the technology that's in them. I love the thinking behind them. And occasionally, some of them, I actually love shooting them. I'm more of a longbow man, I must say. But, I shoot crossbows fairly regularly because I make them fairly regularly. So, a windlass crossbow. Now, the first thing I'd like to thank Skallagrim and his viewers, because Skall came to me basically looking for a windlass crossbow, nice powerful one, and it was crowdfunded by his viewers. So, well done, viewers. That's absolutely great. Seeing as it's crowdfunded, prices are all in public, so I don't need to worry about that. So this has cost Skall, or Skall's viewers, £2,400. Now, that's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of money. You can buy quite a nice car for them for 2,400 quid. So the first question would be, well, why is it that kind of money? Well, I can tell you now that there are 66 components in this bow. Every single one of them is handmade. Every single one of them is hand-fettled, hand-fitted for this bow to make this work. Now, on top of that, I've got to know what I'm doing. It's taken me years to work out this sort of stuff. So it's taken me a long time to be able to get to this point, to make these kind of bows and to make them work properly. And actually, in fact, I shot another one of mine 2 weeks ago, another windlass bow. I haven't shot this one yet, rather obviously. And it got 235 or 238 yards, something like that. Which basically, there was a French engineer back in the 1970s called Liebel, who was sponsored by the French Army. And he did a lot of work on these sort of powerful war bows. And he had calculated that you should be looking for a distance between about 240 and 260 yards for these bows. So actually, I was very pleased with that. Historically, that's what they seem to get. There's a lot of myth, and that's one of the things that pulled me into making these bows. And that's one of the things that actually Skallagrim's going to be looking at, is basically, in a simple sense, sort of myth busting, really. It's, here it is, what does it do? And he will make a lot of videos, I'm sure, about shooting it through this and shooting it through that. And that, that's his department. I'm not going to spoil his fun with that, but I'm going to talk to you about the bow. So, well, let's start at the beginning. We've got ourselves a nice big spring steel crossbow prod. It's about 700mm long, just a little bit over. It's got forged tips on it. The steel itself is spring steel, hardened, tempered, obviously. And it's tempered to a point where I know that it's not going to break on me. So that I can be very comfortable of. I mean, historically, there was, I've forgotten his name, Knight in the Blast Furnace, Alan somebody, I've forgotten his name. He did an analysis of a crossbow prod that was forge welded out of 40 different bits of steel. Yes, it worked, but I don't want to be behind it. This one has been forged out of a single piece of steel, and I am frankly a lot more comfortable with that. So the draw weight of this, the exact draw weight, I haven't yet put it on a scale, so I can't tell you. It should be nudging about £1,000. Might be a little bit short, might be a bit over, I don't know. One of the things is I can go from my sections, and I know what it's going to draw approximately. But the difference in brace height and the difference in curvature of the bow and obviously, of course, the actual draw length makes a massive difference to the actual power of the bow. So until I've got the correct string on it and I've put it on a bow scale, I can't tell you exactly how much this is going to be. What I can tell you, which is quite interesting about these bows, is there is always some variety, of course, in the centre dimensions here and the tip dimensions here, just at the end here. There's always variety. But roughly, if you look at historical examples, you're looking at about 60% for these two values of what these two values are. And that will give you a bow that functions well. Some had a little bit of reflex on it, some didn't. So that's our bow. Obviously the heat treating is done very competently, very accurately, so I know exactly what it is. So that side of it is done, but like I say, until the string's actually on it, I can't know exactly what the draw weight is. The string itself, linen. Of course, hemp would work. A lot of people go for Dacron, things like that on crossbows, but it's just not right. You end up with a skinny string and it's just, yeah, it's not right. I try to make my things look right. So this is linen. Each particular strand in it has got about 50 pound, 22 kilo breaking strain. How many strands are in it? I actually don't know. Basically, I just build it up until it's thick enough, and I'm happy with that. So it's made in a traditional way. It's then beeswaxed. I just love the fact that that is just floppy string. It's like, you know, as floppy as a string you tie your parcel up with, and then just look at that. You know, it's an extraordinary thing. The string itself is a piece of engineering. So we have that, and then we have the components. Well, some of them are very unexciting things, like the pins for the windlass cage. Obviously, it didn't take me very long to make. Then you get other components, like the windlass cage itself, and that, you know, you can see it's a lot of work. So when I say that this whole thing has cost £2,400, and it's a lot of money, you know, you can't make any bones about it. But these things take a hell of a long time to make. So, you know, these cages are difficult. You've got things like the crank arms here, where you've got firework on them and so on. Again, you know, it all takes a fair bit of time. Where do we begin, really? I mean, we have a stirrup at the front because you need the stirrup to be able to load it. I've got another video about this that you can see. So you put your foot in it and you crank it up. We then have the bow irons with the wedges and the anvils. So basically steel bows came in around about 1400. Before that you could lash composite bows, or there's another, you can do it with the steel bracket as well and then lash it. But what you couldn't do is use this very powerful clamping system for it. Again, I've got a video about that. Then we've got the cages and the pulleys themselves, obviously running on the cords there. And then we've got the reinforcing plates. So the stock, which is ash, basically ash is a fantastic wood. It's just unbelievably tough. It tears a little bit when you're working it, so it can be a little difficult. You really got to work with the grain on ash. But it is just so unbelievably tough. So historically it's the European spear wood, axe handle, hammer handle, that sort of thing. So it's a very, very tough wood. And of course, when you've got something approaching, well, a third of a ton, a bit more than a third of a ton of draw weight on your bow, which is, you know, whatever that is, 20 inches from your head, you obviously want something that you can believe in. And ash is a wood that you can believe in. It is tough as hell. Just rebaited the steel plates into the side there, so we get a nice smooth finish. The reason for that is if you're running a goat's foot bow or a handspan bow, basically it doesn't matter if the plates are proud of the surface, it's fine. But with a windlass bow, where you're dragging the pulley cages past it, the rivets on the inside of this will always catch on these plates, so you've got to recess the plates in. The plates are there really because, of course, you've taken a massive lump of wood out where you put the nut. You need to replace that strength with the plates. So basically you rivet the plates front and back, and then the actual pivot of the trigger and pivot of the nut, they also form part of the riveting system that holds everything together. So we've got the trigger here, again with firework and so on. A pair of leaf springs just underneath, and a hardened face on the end of the trigger here, because obviously, especially with powerful bows, you really take a wear on the trigger system. I can't think of anything else to say about Skallagrim's bow other than I'm going to hand it over to him once the thing's assembled, get it on the way to him, and I would imagine in 2, 3, 4 weeks from now you'll be watching some interesting films with him. So thank you very much for your time, and Skallagrim's new windlass crossbow in component form. Thank you.